Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasairos. This channel is dedicated to telling the truth. I will tell the truth at all costs. If your feelings get hurt by hearing the truth, this channel is definitely not for you. So the first story of the day is President Trump is doing what he was elected to do. He is deporting illegal immigrants. And I have bad news for Democrats and liberals. If you are in this country illegally, you don't get due process. That the law doesn't apply to you if you broke the law to come into the United States of America. You don't have the same rights as American citizens. The only right you have is to be arrested and deported immediately. But Democrats and liberals, they just can't comprehend this because the liberal brain and mind doesn't like the law, doesn't like rules, doesn't like regulations. They want pandemonium. They want chaos. They want confusion. And chaos and confusion and lawlessness is from the devil. I love when I hear Democrats mention Jesus in the Bible. Well, guess what? The Bible is very specific about following the law. Without laws, you have anarchy. And what about the 500,000 missing kids that were illegally trafficked into the United States of America? And Democrats have no idea where these children are. They're being sex trafficked. They're being brought to sweatshops to work all day. They're being all types of horrible things are happening to them because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden didn't want to do their job and secure the border and do immigration in a humane way. So now we have chaos all throughout the country. The mayor of Newark, now Democrats it's all for political stunts. They're all going to ICE detention facilities and they're storming the gates and they're fighting people. It's all for votes. That's all it is. So let's watch the mayor of Newark, Mayor Baracus, get arrested like the typical idiot moron that he is. Is this an insurrection? Are Democrats and liberals going to call this an insurrection? Oh, let me guess. When it's for their righteous cause, that doesn't count as an insurrection. Only if you love America, Americans, the flag, the Constitution, and you believe in the law, that's the only time when you're committing insurrection. I'm sure they'll turn this idiot into a victim, and that's wrong. No, what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is lawlessness. Any person in the United States of America illegally needs to be deported. I don't care if you're from Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America, wherever you're from, you have no right to be in this country illegally. You have no right to live off the taxpayer's dime. Trillions of dollars a year are being spent on illegals, whether it's housing, healthcare, you name it. But if you're an American citizen and you just lost your job and you go to the emergency room, every time you go in there, they want $300, $500. Then you get a bill for $5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand. But illegals can have kids and show up at the emergency room day in and day out, never be denied care. But American citizen, if you have insurance, we're going to charge you an arm and a leg. And why do you think that happens? That happens because liberals and Democrats think it's everybody else's responsibility to pay for their future potential voters. And I'm sick of it. I don't care where you're from. I make no apologies. If you're in the country illegally, you need to be deported. America's the only country in the world that rewards illegals for breaking the law. Oh, here's a free house. Here's a voucher for a car. Here's health care. Oh, we'll give you money to start your own businesses. It's complete bullshit. I don't care if you don't like it. Go to any other. You know what? If Americans needed a place to live and we tried to go to Mexico illegally, we'd be arrested and automatically brought to jail. You'd get 10 years. In Mexico, they have some of the most strictest illegal immigration laws in the entire world. If you go to Mexico illegally, you automatically get 10 years in prison. But nobody's calling them a racist. Try to go to China illegally and see what happens to you. Right? Look, the liberal democratic mindset, you make me sick. Hard-working American citizens, you'll tax to death. You could care less about them. Oh, stupid American. All Americans, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever you are, if you're here illegally, your tax money goes to illegals. And then you'll turn around and you'll complain, I can't pay my bills. Car insurance is too high. Groceries are too high. While you're being taxed to death to pay for future Democratic voters. So let's watch Democrats. They're pulling an insurrection at ICE detention facilities. Democrats love illegals. They love criminals. Don't be an American citizen because they want to tax you to death and put you in jail when you point out their corruption. So let's see what liberal scum are up to today.
Get off of her! You cannot push it! You cannot Congress! You can't push members of Congress! Get off of her!
You are fascist!
Get off of her! Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
As they scream, you are fascists as you break the law. And you are criminals. And Democrats are criminals. All Democrats love criminals. All Democrats love lawlessness. All Democrats love an open border. Of course they do. Because they need future voters. Because who in their right mind is going to vote for their policies? So a group of black militants decide to go to a park where there's children playing. Of course, the children are white. And they're taking so much pride in intimidating white families playing with their children in a park. Yeah, so tough. Such tough guys. A group of 300 men in a park screaming at children and mothers swinging kids on their swings. And then if a cop showed up and people started to get arrested, everybody would lose their minds. But this type of behavior, and you could see, wait for looks on these white people's face. You take so much pride in being complete garbage. You take so much pride in people are afraid to be next to you. That's really something to take pride in. That's something to be proudful of. You go to a park and scream at children. Let's watch the video.
Look at these white people.
Look at them all laughing. Look at these white people scared. They're with their kids. You got your costumes in Walmart that you spent $10 on, walking up. Where are the Israelites? Kill the white man. On top of a hill, screaming at a bunch of families. And then you wonder why people can't stand you. I mean, just, what could have gave you, why would anybody say to themselves, see the Israelites dressed like that and say, I can't stand these guys? Oh, I wonder why.
Scared of motherfucker.
Scared as a motherfucker. Oh, what do you want him to do? As he pushes his 3-year-old on a swing. Grow up. Oh, yeah, he looks really... That guy in the back leaning on the fence, he just looks terrified. So scared. Total IQ of about -40. What a sorry bunch of piles of shit. I mean, can you be any more pathetic? I don't know who you're mad at, jumping around, doing whatever. So let's go to a park where people are playing with their kids and hoot and holler and jump up and down. Such tough guys. Such tough guys, I'll tell you. Racist Ryan Clark from ESPN, he'd be super proud, brother. So an ICE raid in Worcester seems to go bad. People are trying to fight ICE agents. Hey, listen. For all you idiotic morons that don't understand, if you're in the country illegally, you broke the law. You could be deported. But only Democrats and liberals and the people that broke the law, they don't accept this. They should just be able to do what they want. They should be able to get driver's license. They just don't get it. They should be able to get welfare. You should pay for it. You should pay for their health care. You should pay for their stay here. Section 8, you name it. It's all on you. If you are in the country illegally, you broke the law, you need to be deported. You know what I love? I love all these white liberals that go completely insane and then they bring busloads of illegals to Martha's Vineyard and all these rich neighborhoods where white liberals live. And they're like, okay, they can live here with you. Oh, no, they can't live here with us. They're just so full of shit. If you're in the country legally, you need to be deported immediately. I make no apologies. If you're insulted, too bad. You ever notice something? The more that President Trump does his job and the more that President Trump follows the law, the more that Democrats completely lose their minds and have no self control. And I absolutely love it. I love it. So, President Trump has the plan to stop all these radical leftist judges who think they have the power to run the country and not President Trump. Stephen Miller confirms President Trump is considering suspending the writ of habeas corpus to deport millions of illegal aliens. Only Democrats will fight for illegal aliens that murder, sexually assault, rob, and drive down wages for the American citizens because Democrats need future voters. So let's let Stephen Miller tell us himself.
I have two quick questions. First, President Trump has talked about potentially suspending habeas corpus to take care of the illegal immigration problem. When could we see that happen, do you think?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article 3 courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just, the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too. So all of that will inform the choices the president.
See, and that's what Democrats do. That's what Joe Biden does, Sleepy Joe and the Democratic crime machine. They put these judges on the bench, purple hair, green hair, transgenders that hate America, hate the Constitution, and think that they run the country. The people of America elected President Trump to run the country, not some district court judge that's a anti-American radical. So President Trump has to do what he has to do by any means necessary. And God bless President Trump, the greatest American to ever live. So we're getting our first sightings at Sheduer Sanders at rookie minicamp. There was a post with Sheduer Sanders on the Browns website the other day, got 15 million views, which is incredible. I mean, he's bringing a lot of publicity to the Cleveland Browns. I wouldn't expect anything different. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I've said that I think Sheduer Sanders should have been a 4th-round pick and his brother should have been a free agent. It doesn't mean I don't like Sheduer Sanders. I'm just going by what the tape is. I would love for Sheduer Sanders to be the next Tom Brady for one reason. When I go watch Steelers games versus the Browns, it's the hottest ticket in town. I wish Sheduer well. We get to see Sheduer in a Browns uniform. Let's see what he was up to today. Shedeur looks calm and relaxed, and I wish him the best. I hope he becomes Tom Brady. I hope he proves everybody wrong. Just because you tell the truth about his tape doesn't mean I dislike him personally. I might have disliked the way he handled the entire process. I know Dion came out the other day, made a video saying, he said, you ever do something, you say to yourself after it was over, like, damn, what I do that for? He knows that his mouth caused Sheduer Sanders to make the Browns not select his son in the first round of the draft. If Dion had it over to do again, I think he would have handled it completely different than what he did. But hey, God works in mysterious ways. This could have been a blessing in disguise for Shedeur, where he's not handed the job. He has to fight and compete. His whole career, he played for his dad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but now he's not there with his dad, and he starts at the bottom, and he's got to work and work and work and prove he deserves to be the starter. So this might be the best thing for Shedeur's career in the long run. So Bill Belichick just continuously makes a fool out of himself. This is such a bad look for Bill. The hard-nosed Bill who doesn't put up with garbage and bull crap. He has this 20-year-old girlfriend next to him, just making a complete fool out of him. She walks around half naked. She shows up to his interviews, telling the interview what they can ask him, what they could say to him. Who the hell are you, Jordan? Nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody. So Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has reportedly been banned from UNC's football facility per Pablo Torre. Jordan allegedly bedazzled the team's whiteboard with rhinestones, rendering it unusable for actual X's and O's. UNC staffers are still scraping glitter off the locker room floor, muttering, "This is why we stick to football." I mean, Jesus, Bill. Bill, come on, man. You're 75 years old. You can't get a girlfriend that's at least 50, at least 45, 20s. You can't tell what's going on here, Bill. No nonsense, Bill, who treated Tom Brady like shit for 20 plus years after Tom Brady was the most loyal, dedicated soldier he's ever had. But he'll put up with this garbage from her. You're going to be like, what does one have to do with the other? It has a lot to do with it. This is Bill Belichick, Mr. Serious business, and I don't put up with BS and nonsense, and I'm all about football. And then you bring her around your team? The only way it could possibly go worse is when one of the players sleeps with Bill's girlfriend, which is definitely possible. And then North Carolina just looks like a total train wreck of a university and football team. And I really do believe that's the real reason why she was banned from the facility, because they're probably thinking one of these players is going to screw her, and then we're going to look like a complete clown show. Let's get her the hell out of here. So I'm going to end it with entertainment. I'm going to see ThunderBolts tomorrow in the movie theater. I'll let you know how it went. My honest review of the movie. I love all Marvel Comics movies, and I'm praying to God I'm the next Wolverine. So I'm going to speak it into existence. Let's make it happen. Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros.